The 2012 Arizona Wildlife Use Calendar issue, showcasing the winners of our annual wildlife photography contest, is now available. Grand Prize winner Bruce Talbert offers some tips on how to take winning wildlife photographs.
Well, I must say that I was ecstatic when Julie Hammond called me and told me that my coyote in the snow had received a place on the calendar this year, 2012, as of December. And then I was even more happy when she told me that my Townsend's big-eared bat, drinking water, was a grand prize and that it was going to be on the cover of the Arizona Wildlife Use magazine. Well, the grand prize is a really fun picture to take. It's a Townsend's big-eared bat, drinking water with a nice reflection on it. If you look real close, you can see there's tadpoles in the water. The problem there is really technologically, how do you get a photograph of an animal that's flying maybe 30 miles an hour when it hits the water, just as it hits the water, to get a nice reflection and a good picture? Well, you have to really get some kind of unique equipment. Well, you have a camera, obviously. You have a tripod, which everyone has, supposedly. You have a bunch of flashes, but you have to use an infrared trip. So the real trick is you put the infrared trip across the water, because you know the bat's going to fly in this way and take a drink of water because you found yourself a real small place where you know where the bats are coming. So you put the infrared beam across the water, and then when the bat crosses the water, comes to take a drink, hits the infrared beam, all the flashes go off, and voila, you're focused right where the infrared beam is set. So you get a nice in-focus photograph of the bat coming in to drink the water. Hopefully you get a nice reflection and everything is framed properly. Well, a coyote in the snow is much harder than the bat drinking. You know where the bat's going to be, so you just put yourself there. You don't know where a coyote is going to be, ever. And how do you put a coyote in the same place and then get some nice weather around it, some nice sunlight, some nice snow, some nice rain to give it more than just a coyote sitting there looking off into the distance? Well, I had a good friend that lives down in Oracle, and he has some horses and he has some hunting dogs. And the coyotes go by the horse pen and the hunting dog pen trying to scavenge up maybe a little bit of extra horse feed or maybe a little bit of extra dog feed in their daily run. They seem to do that in the morning after my friend feeds the animals. So I watch the weather fronts, and when the weather fronts tell me there's going to be snow where I want to have snow, I get my tail out of bed, 2 o'clock in the morning, I drive down to where there's going to be snow, I get my blind, I set up, and I wait. But I got lucky, maybe the 5th or 6th time. The coyote came through, I gave just a slight whistle and he kind of stopped, looked off to the distance a little bit, and I took the photograph. And luckily the wind was blowing. I used a little bit of a slow shutter speed so I get that snow kind of drifting through. Instead of pinpoints, you notice that the snows are little dashes, so I think that adds a little bit to it. The first thing that you need to do, my advice, is to get to learn your equipment. Really know that camera, know how to operate the camera under different circumstances. It's sometimes easy to get close to wildlife, but you've got to know how to handle environmental situations, sunlight, shadows, rain, snow, fog, daylight, nighttime, in order to take a good photograph of an animal. So really get to know that equipment. And you've got to somehow get in your mind a feel for where the animal is going to be, and not just take a photograph of the animal in situ sitting there looking at you, kind of a portrait type of photo, but try to get it doing some action. But under both circumstances, I plan these photographs way ahead of time. I didn't get up this morning and say it's snowing, I'm going to go get a coyote photograph. It doesn't happen that way, it's not going to work for you. So know your equipment and really study the wildlife, and you'll have a lot better chance of getting a good photograph. One thing about contests is it forces you to push your limits. And anything that'll force you to push your limits is positive in photography. When I first started taking pictures, I showed them to friends and they said I was good. And then I started showing them to editors and they say, you need a lot of work, Bruce. So contests, photo clubs, anything that gets you to step out of your comfort zone, out of your box, and have other individuals evaluate your work is really going to make you a better photographer. And then when you do get a grand prize like I did, you get a lot of satisfaction. A lot of people are going to see that photograph. They're going to realize that Bruce Talbert spent an awful lot of hard work and effort to get to that point. And you get a self-satisfaction. It's like doing a good job at any profession. When your equals pat you on the back, you feel real good. So when the editors at the magazine patted me on the back and gave me the prizes, I said, well, I'm getting there. I'm really feeling comfortable because people that I look up to are telling me that I'm getting pretty good.
Take advantage of the end-of-year subscription special and sign up to receive 7 issues of Arizona Wildlife Views magazine for just $7. Order by November 30th to be sure you receive the 2012 Arizona Wildlife Views calendar issue. To subscribe, visit Views online or call 1-800-777-0015.